Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Williampierre, here back with another video. And today, we're not going to be playing anything, we're going to be doing a tier list on Blox fruits. Basically, from S to E tier, we're going to be rating every single fruit in update 17.2 of Blox fruits. Seeing as there's probably going to be new fruits in the next update, I'm not going to bother too much about this. And next update, I'll be doing another one. Mostly because there's also going to be awakenings and stuff that are going to change everything about this tier list. I may not have used every single fruit, but I have probably fought or used every single fruit. Or fought against. And looking at this list, I can't find a single one I have not either used or fought against or have seen used properly. And starting off, we have the barrier fruit. Now, the thing about this is it's not only an early fruit, it's also pretty useless. Its main thing is kind of trolling and building stuff. It doesn't have a very efficient mode of transport that is basically just your walk speed and your ability to press a button and wait for a cooldown. And its damage is pretty meh. So if I were to place this anywhere, it'd probably be in D tier. It's bad. Next thing we have the bomb fruit. Also keep in mind that the barrier fruit does not have an awakening. It might get one actually, but not yet. The bomb fruit is pretty obvious. It's got 2 attacks. The barrier fruit, I believe, has 4 attacks, which is at least something. Next is the Buddha fruit. Well, you see, the Buddha fruit is actually really good. The Buddha fruit is probably one of the best fruits in the game, so it's pretty obvious that I'm putting it in S tier. Like, it has an awakening. That's already good. When it's awakened, it is probably one of the best fruits for grinding in the game. In fact, in grinding, I would happily say it's the best fruit. But in PvP, it's pretty average unless you have something like the Dark Blade V2, in which case you destroy everything if you have the right build. After that, we have the chop fruit, if I can remember my icons properly. We have the chop fruit. This thing isn't actually that bad, because it has immunity to sword attacks, which is a kind of a minority in terms of fighting mains, but I think it's still like a C or a D tier. If it's a D tier, it's definitely beating Barrier, but I think it could be put in C tier, honestly, because of the immunity to sword attacks. It's pretty good. The issue is, as a fruit for damage, like if you're a fruit main, you do not want to even try to use this fruit. It is useless as a fruit main. It is only if you're like a swordsman, a melee like main, or maybe even a gun main. If you're fighting against a lot of sword users, it'd be good. Then we have the control fruit. Now the control fruit is both good and bad. It has its weaknesses for sure. Unlike, for example, the Buddha fruit, which basically its only weakness is if you have range and you can outrun it, which is difficult when they're using like Mink V3 or Ghoul V3 during nighttime, and then using something that gives speed. It's pretty annoying to fight against, but this is... I'd say it's like A tier, to be honest, because they buffed it recently, from what I remember, and it is actually pretty good. Maybe not for its price, because it's one of the most pricey things in the game, but it's still a good fruit. I've used it before. All of the fruits you see here I've used before, by the way, and with decent proficiency. Then we have the dark fruit. Now this one's an interesting one, because the dark fruit is one that I never awakened, unlike, for example, the Buddha fruit, but I know for a fact that it's good as awakened, as mostly a secondary thing. You don't main the dark fruit most of the time, because it has stun attacks and pretty good combos with other swords and stuff. I'm probably gonna put it at, because of Awakening. I'd say it's A tier. It's good. It's definitely very good. But it's not the best, for sure. Even in terms of low gear, it's not the best. Then you have the Diamond Fruit. I'm just gonna call them just the singular because it's the Diamond no Mi. And even then, that's not even the Japanese name. The Diamond Fruit is pretty useless. It's basically just defense. Its attacks aren't even that great, and I've never seen someone main this fruit. I'm gonna have to slap this in D tier, to be honest. It doesn't seem like it's gonna be very useful in a fight. The Door Fruit. Now, the Door Fruit, much like the Dark Fruit, the Chop Fruit, it's not something you main. It's usually used for its utility of the fact that you can teleport literally anywhere in the map in all 3 Cs, which is a damn good ability. It's great for transportation. But then again, if it's not really a fruit you can main, how far can you really get with it? Still, for being a very good secondary, I'm gonna put it in B tier, because it's a great secondary. And now we got 2 heavy hitters, great. We have Dur and Dragon. Dur does not have its Awakening yet. That's gonna be a major change between this tier list and the next one, is that Dur gets its Awakening next update. And for that, I'm going to have to put it, I'm gonna have to put it in, where should I put it? I know it's gonna be an A tier somewhere, but where? Because it's actually not as good, in my opinion, as either the Control or the Dark Fruit, even as Awakened. I'm gonna put it at the bottom of A tier. Because, one, it's not that great because of lack of Awakening, high cost, high mastery requirements, which is something I haven't been taking into consideration, but everything we've been through so far except Control and Dur have pretty low requirements. It can't be used early game. Dur, I tried early game, like level 300-400, and I absolutely hated it because I couldn't use it properly. It just wasn't usable. Yeah, I think bottom A tier works. It's definitely good. Bottom A tier is not bad. And then we have the Dragon Fruit. Once again, a fruit that I think is definitely way too expensive and mastery requiring. For what it is, anyway. Because unlike the Dirt Fruit, this thing actually is used a lot in PvP and very well. The Dirt Fruit I haven't found in PvP recently, actually. And I've been in a few fights in public servers within the past few days. Unlike the Dragon Fruit, which I found several times. Dragon Fruit, I'd probably put not at S tier, but I'd put at the top of A tier. It's a good fruit. It's also the thing you love getting at the random fruit guy. Then we have the Falcon Fruit. The Falcon Fruit is pretty useless, like the Diamond Fruit was added recently. And it's also something I could only see being used as a secondary for its rather quick flight speed. And even then, I don't think it's that quick. Like, Phoenix V2 full form, or even half form, could probably outpace this thing. And also light, obviously. I'm gonna put the Falcon Fruit at... This is a very interesting question. Where should I put it in D tier? I think it's more useful than Diamond Fruit. And probably also more useful than the Barrier Fruit, because the Barrier Fruit's movement ability is hot garbage. Because it also requires using stamina, and that's pretty annoying. At least a lot of stamina. Well, early game. Then we have the Fire Flame Fruit. This one is the perfect fruit for early game, that and light. The Flame Fruit is a fruit that has an awakening, for one. That is definitely a good factor. It's cheap, low requirements for mastery. And it doesn't really have many weaknesses or hard counters. Or really anything good about it. It's kind of a mediocre fruit overall, which is why I'm gonna put it at B tier. and the bottom at B tier, because late game, unless you have it awakened and you're good at using it with like 500 plus mastery, it's pretty unusable in third tier PvP context anyway. Which is kind of what I base this off of, is one, farming is pretty useful. That's why this chop fruit isn't that low, is because farming wise, there are a lot of things that have that. In fact, no. Let me buff up the chop fruit because it's good at farming. That is for sure. Which also, I should probably with this scale up the falcon fruit, because like it is still better than both of these. And I'd almost be tempted to put the diamond fruit in E tier because how useless it is, but I'm reserving that purely for the spike and bomb fruit. With that, we have the gravity fruit. Gravity fruit is pretty funny. It's great to use because you can kind of just yeet people off of an island into the water. But in PvP, never seen it. Literally no one uses this in PvP late game. If you use this in PvP, you have some hidden knowledge about the game, because I've heard there is someone who won a tournament using gravity fruit. You either have hidden knowledge, or you're on your last cache and you ran out of fruits in your inventory, so you just kind of use this. In that case, it's so bad I'm gonna put it in C tier. In fact, I'm gonna put it at the top of C tier because it's not as bad as the falcon fruit, for example. It has flight. It's also got decent requirements too. It's actually really expensive. For its price and requirements, it's actually really bad. Then you have the ice fruit. Allergia with an awakening. I have this awakened. I have used all of these fruits except falcon and diamond. I've even used gravity. And I haven't awakened flame, for example. I have awakened ice, though. And it's fully awakened her. So I kind of know what I'm doing when it comes to this thing. This is good. It is definitely a good fruit. It's at least B or even A tier. It's kind of like dark in the sense that it's also mostly used as a secondary. It's not used as a primary fruit. Which is why I'm going to put it at the top of A tier. One, it's not that great as a primary. Actually, I've seen some pretty damn good combos. I think it's gonna be right here, because ice, I don't think it's just a secondary. It can be used as a primary, but it's kind of used for its stun and combos that you can do. I have been one-shot comboed by this not too long ago, not recently either, but I've seen people using it recently in the third sea outside of the mansion, because that's where everything happens. 10,000 kilos, meaning the kilo fruit, because there's also a ton fruit, which I don't know why this isn't the ton fruit in that case. It's 10 tons, or metric tons. The ton fruit, kilo fruit, whatever you want, because debatable on which one it would be. I'm still certain it's not that great. I think it's gonna have to be like, I'm gonna put it here because I'm pretty sure it actually has something to use it with. It has some use. I don't know much about the diamond fruit or the falcon fruit, which is why I may correct this if you check the thumbnail of the video. The thumbnail will tell you if I've changed it based on how good it actually is. But I'm taking a very good guess based on, one, how many times I've seen it, what people have said about it, and whatever. Which is why I'm going to move it up, because I'm pretty sure the killer fruit is never used. The light fruit, another good fruit, Logia, awakenable. I have fully awakened light as well. And this is a solid S tier, to be honest. High damage, for one. It's got great damage. It's got AoE. It's got the fastest flight in the game, which is even, I guess it's not changeable in the first form when you have V1, but in V2 you can change your path, so it's actually useful for traveling between islands. And also, it's just an all-round decent fruit for grinding, because you have the ability to go AFK with it, and use Haki with it. I don't know why using Haki is so great. It's like the ice fruit, kind of. But at least this thing's quick, because the ice fruit's kind of a pain in the ass to travel between islands. Love fruit. This one is another one I've literally never used. I've never seen a use for it. And that's why it's also going to be wait, I think it has stun though. I think it has stun, which is kind of the point of it. Which is probably why I'm going to place it at the bottom of C tier. I'm really questioning my choice of gravity because seeing gravity so low, despite not being that bad, if you have the money to afford it, like hundreds of millions, at least tens of millions, it isn't terrible, but I have never seen it being used in a PvP context. At least not personally. Magma Fruit, that's an S tier because it has broken damage, great combos, Logia Fruit, has two different possibilities for moving around, being flying and a flight that, mind you, does damage. Its burn damage is pretty absurd, making its overall DPS as Awakened disgusting, to say the least. And you can walk on water with it, which is kind of just pretty average, to be honest. Because Ice can do it too, and basically the same thing as what Barrier does, is just walks. It's not very quick, but at least it's more reliable than Barrier. Paw Fruit, don't know why there's an outline on it. I think they literally took that from someone's inventory, because that's the inventory frame around it. Paw Fruit, I've seen used in PvP before. Now that's for sure. I've seen it used in PvP, never used it myself. So, knowing that this thing is supposedly, like, really good in PvP, or at least decent in PvP, I'd like to place it in top of B tier, because I don't think it's great at farming, not Logia, haven't seen any movement abilities using it, not great. Phoenix. Phoenix is a new one, has an awakening, that's already something, but it's kind of bad. It's like really bad, which is why I'm going to put it at the worst position in B tier, because it kind of, it's, the whole thing is that it's a support. It heals a lot. But even then, I say a lot, but really it's kind of, it's not great. It's not that great in terms of PvP. Grinding, it's probably still good. I don't know, but I think it's generally bad. No one likes it. Quake Fruit. Quake Fruit, kind of like Gravity there. Not necessarily high requirement, but just underused as hell. And it's kind of just like mediocre. Which is why I want to put in either, actually not even D tier, no, it's not that bad. C tier, I'd like to say it's kind of just there, behind Gravity. Which makes sense when you think about it. Phoenix does kind of just beat Gravity overall. Soul Fruit makes you able to revive, has a flight, but like, I'm gonna put it top of D tier. I don't think it has any real use. It's kind of what I've seen. It's used by the same person I know as a max level 30 million. Used the same way they used Door while they were using Yoru V tier. It's just kind of a thing you have on the side to be able to get you out of a bad situation. Gum Fruit. Gum Fruit is useful in many ways. One, immunity to a lot of different electric attacks, like Electro. I believe it has immunity to Electric Claw, something like that. It has immunity to Rumble Fruit. Probably has immunity to Pole V2. At least if they went with realism there. I have used Gum, not against a Rumble Fruit, so I wouldn't know exactly where the immunities start and end, but I know for a fact it's immune to Rumble Fruit. Or something like that. That's why Gum is also kind of trash, because it also does not have Gear 3rd or 4th. It's pretty damn bad. Without Gear 3rd and Gear 4th, which could eventually come in, I don't know, update 18 or update 19 probably, I'd have to say that it's gonna be right there. It's also a mediocre fruit that you never see in PvP. C and B are mediocre fruits. D is bad, and E is just trash. A is good and S is really good. Like, extremely useful. Rumble. Rumble fruit is already at least a B tier. I have it fully awakened. It's an amazing fruit. I'd almost be tempted to put an A tier because, like, one, much like these, Lurgia, it has stun. But the thing is that for some reason its awakened final attack is so useless you prefer keeping the original final attack. And that kind of concerns me. It does have a movement ability which can't be used in any other form than going on mainland. I mean, I guess we can kind of jump across islands, that's something. And fruit. It had an awakening. It does still have an awakening. I don't know why I said had. It has an awakening, which basically immediately puts it at least C tier, with Quake also having an awakening. Although I've never really seen it used, I've heard that it's good in PvP because it can do something pretty useful. Which is why I'm tempted to put it somewhere within B tier, not just on the edge. I think it's worse than Flame. That's definitely certain. Like, Flame is still a very good fruit, which is why it's in the upper echelon of mediocre. Actually, I'm gonna put it above Door for one. Door is kind of like pretty useless as a main thing. It's once again a side fruit that only works as side fruit. Shadow. I'd probably put Shadow right next to Dragon in A tier because it's got some pretty freaky combos. And it's just all around pretty average. Well, all around pretty average except for its stupid combos, and I guess its flight's pretty good if I remember correctly that it has flight. The main issue with PvPing is that they know your fruit before you even go into the PvP area. Because the Shadow Aura. Which is kind of a disadvantage in a few different ways if you're trying to pick a fight with someone without telling them your fruit. They will know anyway. Smoke Fruit. Also, keep in mind, Shadow does not have an awakening, much like the other fruits beside it. They're just the most expensive fruits in the game and stupidly overpowered. Smoke's a D tier for one, because low gear. Two, it's probably better than all of these fruits. Because one, it's a low gear, very affordable. Let me move out of the way. There. It's affordable. It's certainly affordable because it's literally like the third or fourth fruit in the game. It's got a low gear ability, which early game is extremely useful because you don't find any form of Haki until very later on. I believe like level 4, 500 you find it at the Magma Island, where you have a chance of coming across a Magma guy having the Haki, but still, low gear is useful. Soul Fruit. Oh boy. Soul Fruit, Venom Fruit, Dragon, and the Control and Shadow are basically all the same fruit to me. They're all just DPS fruits that have stupid combos. But as someone who has used all four fruits here, I very briefly use Shadow though. I'm gonna place Soul above them because of its even dumber combos that it can pull off. I'm gonna reduce not Rumble, Doe down to B tier because I still think its usage is pretty limited to PvP. It's not great in any other context than PvP. Can't be used in the first sea at all, in my opinion. Spike Fruit is gonna be even behind Bomb because I still think Bomb's more useful than Spike Fruit. This thing, the Spin Fruit, is also absolute hot garbage, but I still would put it above those two because of its usage as, actually, I'm gonna put it here for now, because it's probably still better than the Killer Fruit. Spring Fruit is top of ET, useless, just garbage. I hate it. So annoying. You annoy the heck out of your opponents. But you also don't exactly use that in PvP at all. its main thing is that you can spring, and it's kind of useless because you can't exactly use it to go across islands because you need to be on a solid surface before using it, I believe. You can't do it mid-air. So it's kind of annoying. String fruit has an awakening, but much like these things, actually, unlike these things, it's only really useful if you know how to use it. If you have it, you know how to use it, you have it awakened, it can be really useful. Otherwise, it sucks. Venom fruit is gonna have to go straight here. I'm tempted to demote one of these fruits down to B tier. And honestly, Phoenix, probably worse than that. And then put this thing here. That's more accurate. That's what I thought. I kind of feel like I'm missing something, but I still don't know. Something I also forgot to mention about Light is that it has stun when awakened. What was I on? Yeah, Venom. I've maxed out Venom's mastery. It's very overpowered. I did a review on Venom, Light. I also did a review on Spike and Bomb, and on Chop. Did I do any other reviews on that? I don't think I did, no. Venom is basically the better dragon. Birth of Flight, albeit Venom has a limited flight that at least does damage. And is, I'm pretty sure, quicker than Dragon Flight, or Half Flight. While Dragon's form allows you to fly, it's a bigger target, and you can't exactly miss a dragon. Both provide fair damage, resistance, and speed, but Venom has the higher damage, especially in grinding. Pretty sure it has lower requirements, and it's less costly. It's just more useful. I'm pretty sure Venom is also just way easier to use. Kind of just make them hit the puddle of Venom and then you'll be fine. So, the thing about all of this is I still think that Diamond Fruit could be better, or higher on the list, because I'm pretty sure Diamond Fruit, given its price, should be useful at least. But if it's in a lower tier, it's probably because it's kind of a secondary fruit, and even as that, it's not that useful. Last minute adjustments, I think Chop's gonna be higher here. Because the door is really that one thing, and that's transportation. Other than that, I think that's my complete list right here. Yeah, check the thumbnail beforehand. I'm gonna make sure that you can at least see the tier list of the thumbnail, but in case you disagree, go down to the comment section, destroy my feelings if you have to, I don't mind. I'm not exactly an expert at this game, so don't take this tier list to be factual, just kind of be aware of my arguments, knowing that this is the general idea of what a tier list is. I've used a lot of these fruits, but I'm still yet to use every fruit in the game. I haven't seen every fruit in the game being used. In the case of the Keeler fruit, the Spin fruit, and the Diamond fruit, I've never seen them used before, so I can't really rate them, so I put them at bottom of D tier. But I'm going to fix that in the thumbnail once I get some information from fellow YouTubers. But until then, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did enjoy, don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want to see more content like this. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!